to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Clear sky. Where am When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Clear sky. Where am
When the bass drum hits your face, you be like. When the bass drum hits your face, you. This is how we do it. drum hit your face, you be like. When the bass drum hit your face, you be like. When the bass drum hit your face, you.
Alrighty everyone, welcome back to a live stream here on our Freedom Tracker app. Now, it's been a minute since we played with this. It was last Friday, so please excuse me as we try to get back into the swing of things and try to figure back out where we are. So let's see what kind of luck we get today with the old account linking. I don't know if we're gonna get a good account or a bad account, like transactions wise. But I believe where we left off was we were trying to set it up so that we could link our transactions to our goals. So I'm just going to go ahead and do like saving money maybe. Or actually, no, let's do tracking expenses. And we'll just say like weekly spending. I'm going to see if there's something I can't do in Android to get it so it doesn't pop up over that. I've yet to test this on my iPhone, so that's probably not a good idea either, but it is what it is. Let's say 300 maybe, and complete setup. Yep, okay, so we got data back, so that's good, because the last time we were working on this, I think it was still a little bit early, and at least we got data back, but obviously it says we only have spent, or have only made $95 this month. I don't know if there's like some that are old, let's see. Yeah, 131. Like that one at least has Rooster and Rice paid us $72. That's not very good. Anyway, it's there. We're probably going to want to make this whole thing scroll at some point, but again, I don't really care about that. So at this point, what we need to be able to do, I believe, is like click on one of these transactions, which we obviously haven't done yet. Let's see here. Oh, on press toggle. Oh, maybe I didn't click on it. There we go. There. So yeah, now we have this on press. This, I don't know what to do about this guy. Like, this is horrible. We're gonna make our own one of these eventually, but now for now I just want it to get it to work. We click on it and whatever. I thought that there's some text. Oh, there is. Maybe this. Oh, I think it's because we were going to have it side by side, but this guy is not really working. I don't know if there's a way to style this switch. I kind of want to look and see if there's a way to style this guy. So let's see here. React native style switch. Like, I wonder if there's a way to make it smaller. Track color, thumb color, iOS background. Like, it's massive. Switch. Taking up entire width. I don't want to take up the entire width. You can scale it. Or wrap it with a width container. So it looks like we can wrap this maybe. Let's try that. View, style. We're gonna say width 20 maybe. And then justify content center. And see if that helps any. I don't really trust AI on this one, but you never know, maybe it'll work. Holy moly, it did work. Except now it's like, looks horrible. Is it the justify content or what? Because why is it all of a sudden all the way over here now? So width. Oh, that's the whole size. That's 60 pixels, not. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Let's see here. If I threw a style equal to, and then styles dot transaction card, and I'm gonna call this tracking, because we already have a content container. So I feel like this one's redundant. The second view here is redundant, I think. Actually, no, it's not. Not redundant. Because we'll need this in a second. So this will be transactions card tracking content, and this one will be what do we want to call this? Track overview or spending overview. How do we want to do this? For content monthly tracking or something. I hate trying to name stuff. Naming stuff is so horrible for me. Okay, let's grab this. Okay, we're not trying to do too much styling on these. I just want to try to get a width 100% on this. Whoops, 100%. I don't know if that's going to work. We're going to display flex this really quick. And then we're going to go ahead and flex direction this. Whoops. Direction this. Going to be row. And then it should send them side by side. Yep. And then we are going to justify content in the center and align items start. Okay, let's actually center then. Center and flex start this. There we go, looks a lot better. Okay, and then you can't see this, but it is what it is. It looks a lot better. Now the size could probably be different. We could probably throw a better gap on this. Gap of like 24. Just throw in something random. Looks fine. And then we can update the size. So the width right now is 60. What does 40 look like? 40 is not bad. I think we'll stick with 40 and then just kind of go from there. It needs to be bigger than 40. Maybe 50. There, 50 is not bad. And 24 is probably a little bit much. And maybe it would look better if we swap these. I think we want to swap these. I could have done row reverse and kept them. But at this point, we're kind of doing things down and dirty. And we're just getting things to work. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot. Whoops. Move this up one more. The whole purpose of this series is to prototype, get things working, then go back through and make it look prettier. Okay, so I think it's off right now, but I don't 100% know. I can't tell. So if it's, maybe we do, I want it to be like very clear when it's on and off right now. So maybe we do red when it's off and green when it's on. It's gonna look really ugly. So right now it's off. We do this, it's green. So now we can like really tell like yes or no, we're on or off. Another thing, I'm gonna change. Oh, almost my cough fell with me. I'm gonna change this guy to like 2 of these bars. Kind of made the executive decision offline that I'm gonna do that. So basically what this look like is like the green bar will be here, and we'll do some calculations. So it's like this one's like 4 times longer or whatever, or 5 times longer. I don't know how it's gonna work. We'll have to figure out kind of like how to do the width and stuff, because max width would obviously be like 100%. So like if spending is longer, basically do like if spending is larger, spending will be 100%, and then we'll kind of figure out the width of this one versus the other way around. But you get the drill. We're not gonna deal with that today. So now we can track expenses towards this guy. So what we need to do first, I guess, is update it so that we can actually take, like, what we want to be able to see is close out this. That was $85. Like, what we want to be able to see is if we take this and we click on this and it's off, then we want it to basically say, instead of like 483, it's going to say like 3 something. That's like the first thing what we want to do. And it's been a hot minute since I've touched anything database wise, so that's going to be fun. So we need to do 2 things. We need to update the global context, and we need to update the transaction. And this is probably something that we'll want to put into a service eventually, but for the time being we're not going to. So if we go into our, I think if we go into our services and our teller service, yeah, so let's go ahead and grab this for now. I don't think that we need our server or any of that. So now if we come back into a transactions card, and let's go and bring in this guy. Like I said, this is going to be updated eventually. We'll probably bring this into its own thing. We already have user in here. Okay, so we don't need user in this. That's just all it's telling us. So we have our data store. And then now to talk to our data store, we just say data store.insert. There's probably like a data store.update. Let me pull up the documentation for what is this called again? Forgot. Drizzle. Update table. Okay, let's see how update works. So wait db.update and then whatever, and then you set whatever, and then where whatever. Okay, so let's see first if we can just print out the specific transaction information that we want to update. Right, so you can't get, we're going to take in probably transaction ID here, which I think is a string. I don't recall what this is. Let's double check. So our transaction ID, it says is an integer, and that's probably what we do want to bring it back as. We're gonna say this is a number, right? It's gonna be mad at us because now what we're going to do is we're gonna have to do one of these on the switch, and we're gonna have to call this with the ID of this, although the transaction's here, so I guess we don't need to do that because we have the transaction already. We can undo this because this is the individual card, so we don't need this. So if we click on this console.log, and we can go ahead and say tracking colon, and then we're going to literally say not tracked, because whenever you click it's going to do the opposite. And then we'll go ahead and say goal, or we'll go say transaction, transaction colon, and then we'll say transaction dot transaction ID, or just ID. Made it easier on myself. Okay. And this is not track toward spending. So that's basically the opposite whenever you click on this. So if we click on this transaction, right now it's true, and if we click on it, it'll turn to false. So we come back in here, we have a bunch of stuff printing. Click on this tracking false transaction 1. That's interesting that it's transaction number 1. Whatever, I guess. I think that it came in already sorted, maybe. True, false. We click on this one. So Popeyes. Holy crap, how do you spend $100 at Popeyes? Click on this. Transaction 3. Okay, so that's kind of fine. Okay, that's good. So now what we can go ahead and do is, one, we need to track it in the database, and then we need to update the global context as well. And then keep in mind, we will go ahead and extract this into its own like thing. So what we'll do here is, this needs to be an async function. An async function. We'll set tracking, that's fine. And then we'll wonder what this returns. Returning updated user ID. Can you just return everything, I wonder? Yeah, just returning. So we can return the transaction. So what we could do is, like, we could say const updated transaction. And how are we actually doing this? Yeah, this is, we're literally checking tracked, right? So updated transaction. And it's interesting that it's returning an array. I love that for us. So what we're going to do is let's see here. Let's just see what this returns whenever we update this. So updated transaction is equal to await, and then we're going to say our data store dot update. Hopefully that's going to let us do that. And this is going to go ahead and update our transaction from our global data store, like so. We're going to go ahead and say dot set, and then here we're going to go ahead and set the, I need to look at what this is called, and it's not mad at us, so like that's a good sign. So we are going to be setting the transaction, and it's called tracked. Okay, we're going to set tracked to not, and then track towards spending. We're going to do the same logic we were doing to print, basically. Dot where, and then we're going to go ahead and say EQ, bring that in from Drizzle ORM. We're going to say where EQ, where the transaction dot ID is equal to, and this okay, so I think this needs to be transactions with an S. And then this is going to be where transactions.id is equal to transaction.id. That's going to be a very important difference there, because transaction here is going to be the one that's being passed in here. Okay. that's being brought in. And I might need to like do this slightly different. Update transactions. Let's see what's going on with this EQ. EQ. This should be this. Transactions dot ID, comma, transaction dot ID dot returning. And then let's go ahead and return transaction colon transaction maybe, or transactions. Okay, it seems like it let it go through that time. I don't know why I was mad. Maybe I just had this slightly different. The important thing here is this is transactions with an S because that's going to be our actual schema. And we'll await that update and then console.log, and we'll console.log the updated transaction return. And we'll see what this is returning and kind of figure out what to go from there. Updated transaction. And we'll see if this wants to work. So now if we click on this, right now it's false. Transaction 1 is false. We click on this. Then we have our update. It's a array. We have our colon transaction. And then we have account ID, amount, category. Everything's here. The thing that we wanted to look at is tracked is equal to true. That's good. And then if we click on this again, tracked is now equal to false. Now I don't think, now this isn't updating, but that might be because we're grabbing it from the global context. We need to update the global context, but this is progress. So next, what we want to do is, let's see. So that's a good start. So now we need to go ahead and, like, what if we just say returning? Like, do we have to pass in all of this? If we just say returning, what does our return look like? Returning, and then it just returns like a single object. So what we could do is we could say, like, if our updated transaction dot length is equal to 1, so we got it back, then we can go ahead and, or actually we can just like check to see if it's not equal to 1. So if it's not equal to 1, then something went wrong. And we could just like console.log. We'd probably want to do an error or something. Console.log. And like something went wrong. Updating the transaction. And then we would like throw a new error. Throw new error. We'd have some like error handling logic. And this will be like update transaction went or error or something, right? So then we'll check to see if the updated transaction went through, and then if this works basically, then we don't need to worry about this. Otherwise what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and get, so I don't really want to call this updated transaction. I'm going to go ahead and call this persist transaction and persist transaction, and then our updated const updated transaction, whoops, is going to go ahead and equal to our persist transaction. Whoops, maybe if I could type for 0, and then console.log, we can go ahead and say like updated transaction colon and then updated transaction. So now instead of having it in an array, we'll have that specific one. It should always be 1 in length because we only updated one transaction. Yeah, the transaction IDs are obviously they are unique, so there should only be 1 returned. So if we get back 0 of them, or we get back more than 1 of them, then something went wrong and we need to figure that out. So we come back in here and we click on this guy. Now we get just a single transaction that we can work with. Cool. So now we need to update. So this is kind of like step 1. So this looks good. So we just to kind of keep track of what we've done here. So we flip the switch state, and this is like the UI. Flip the UI switch state, right? And then we update the record in the database. And then we need to go ahead and update the global context record. Right, and I think if we update the global context record, then we can go ahead and work on this. So this is going to be in our user. I don't know in our global context. I think we just have an update user. Our global context user has the global user transaction. And I don't remember what the global user transaction actually looks like. I don't know if we have this in like our utils or where we actually, let's see, where do we actually create this at here? Oh, it's just a transaction, but it extends goals. Okay. That's fair enough. Easy enough to follow. So, let's see here. I think we just update user state here. We map through the transactions. It's not fun. It's not like a fun thing to do, but it should be pretty simple. So if we come back into our transaction card, all we need to go ahead and do is say, maybe we make a, how do we want to do this? Let's first extract the user, because we only, or the transactions, because we don't really need to update anything else. So we'll say let users transactions equal to json.stringify or json.parse json.stringify, and then this will be user.transaction. So we'll make a hard copy of that. And then what we'll go and do is do we want to map or filter this? We might need to map this because we want it to be a one-to-one replacement. There's probably like another way to do this, but we're going to say users transactions is equal to users transactions dot map. And now this is matted, so this is going to be a global user transaction array. User transactions is equal to user transactions dot map transaction. We're going to say if the, and I don't want to call this transaction, let's call this T. There's no confusion. So if T dot ID equal to the updated transaction dot ID. We could have also checked the other one. It is what it is. We'll return the updated transaction. Otherwise, we'll return T. Let it map through, whoops, accidentally did return twice. Let it map through all of those users' transactions. And we maybe should have called this updated users transactions. And, updated users transactions, just so we know. And updated users transactions. And I guess we probably could have just done, we don't need to do all of this, right? We could just say, since we're not modifying the user state, we can just say user dot transactions dot map, and then do this, I guess, and make it a lot simpler on ourselves. We're not actually trying to modify the user object here. It should be fine. And then we can go ahead and call the update user state, I think that's what we call it. We need to import it from our global context. I just forgot what it's called. So this is called update user state. So now I need to call the update user state. So let's go and bring this in as well. Update user state. And then down here, we can go ahead and we have our updated this. So update user state. And we're literally say user. And then we're going to go ahead and say transactions. It's going to be the updated user transactions. So then that should update the user transactions. I would try to print them all out, but obviously there's like 100 plus transactions. So it's not going to be very fun. And then this is also where the idea that we wanted to not refetch all the transactions every single time comes in, because then we would be overriding our database. We've set the tracking and stuff. So that's whenever I get to like live testing with my actual bank accounts and stuff, this will be come in handy, and there'll be some testing and stuff I need to do to make sure that I haven't broken anything, but it should be fine. So now I'm going to restart the app because right now it's not tracking, obviously, and it hasn't updated, so it's going to be kind of funky. I'm going to reset the app here just to give it a fair shake. Hopefully it works. And what we want to see here is we want to see that tracking thing update, and if it doesn't update, then we'll have to go through and debug what's going on with that. But for now, let's just put in our username, password on the teller login, continue, and we'll do checking, and we'll go tracking expenses. Goal name, we'll just say like weekly spending. I know we can't see this. I'll figure out how to deal with that. 300 and submit. Oh boy, now we spent 1500, and at least we have 266 this time. So yeah, it just sends back random stuff. Like, it's very hard to really keep track of what's going on here. But now if we click on this, obviously by default it's going to track the expenses. Click on this. Oh, we broke something. Let's see here. Not read property, sum of undefined. Okay, so something happened here. And this is in the transaction card. User goals.map. Oh, you know what? Okay. So what we're gonna have to do is that specific one, since the updated, okay. Shoot. So we're gonna have to deal with that. What we're gonna have to do is return this. Should have thought about that. We're gonna return ... updated transaction. And then we're gonna go ahead and get the actual transaction that we passed in. It should be the same. And we're gonna say, is it called tracked goals? I forgot what this is called. Let's double check our global context. It is doing something and reloading, so that's good. So it's called global context. It's called tracked goals, yeah. Copy this guy, go back to our transaction card. And we're gonna go ahead and say tracked goals is gonna go ahead and be the transaction dot tracked goals. And that should be safe because this is an individual card. So like if we really wanted to, and that probably just ruined my entire database, so that's gonna be fun. Because really we could have just like even done here updated transaction ID. We could have just done transaction ID. It is what it is, and I might change it back later. I don't know, we'll see. Come back in here, connect Bank of America, username and password, go, continue. My checking, track expenses, go ahead and say weekly spending. Okay, Goal amount like 300 or something. Okay, submit and complete. All right, now we got even less income this time. That's cool. I think it's really the date side of the issue. So I think that there are like some things that are coming in. The dates are just kind of wonky. But anyway, now if we click on this, there we go. That's better. Didn't break. Now I don't think that this changed. Yeah, so this guy's not changing. It should be changing in the backend though. So if we console log the updated transaction, I don't want to print out the user state because that's going to break everything. But if we come in here and click on this, so it is reloading it. Oh wait, it did work. I think 12:14. Oh no, it's not. 12:14. It is reloading the component, but it's not calculating properly. It might not be taking into account tracked right now. Let's double check the spending overview component. So I'm wondering if, yeah, I think whenever we're doing this, we're just checking for each. So I think what we literally need to do is check to see like if the transaction dot tracked, or we'll say if not transaction not tracked, we'll just continue, right? I think. Okay, that doesn't work. I guess we'll just say if transaction dot tracked. Do this logic. We'll just wrap this entire block. And I broke something. Okay, never mind. I wrapped it too far. Here. Transaction not tracked. Do this. There we go. So if it's tracked, we'll go ahead and do this. Otherwise, we'll just ignore it. So now if we do this, interesting. Still not working. This one is this month, so it should count. It is updating the transaction. Tracked is now equal to false. Transaction ID, transaction amount. It's printing each transaction and amount. It's not though, I guess, because it's only printing out this total. Is this? Oh, you know what? This is only updating for transactions.length. We might need to make like okay. We're gonna have to figure out another way to reload this component other than using transactions. Because like the only other thing we could do is like watch for transactions to change, but I don't think that we're making enough of a change. Maybe that was enough of a change. It was enough of a change. Okay. I didn't know that if we were writing it enough for that to count as transactions changing. There we go. So now if we click on this, you can see that we're tracking 1214. Click on this, now it's tracking 1148. We can close out of this. And then if we track to this one, 1101. Cool. So there we go. So there's that. Now, what we'd want to be able to do is click on this weekly spending and add it to the actual spending weekly goal. And that's going to be the part that's going to be more challenging. So if we go back into our transactions card, so the first thing we're going to do is persist the goal transaction junction entry. So what we need to do is do the same thing. We have our I don't even think we need to return this, to be honest, because I don't think we're going to use this anywhere. So if we say like how do we want to do this? So I think we can just turn this into an async function and say like data store dot await data store dot insert, I think is how this needs to be. So we go into our insert, yeah, await data store dot insert, and then we need to see what the name of this table is. So let me go ahead and check back our schema, transactions goal junction. Now fetching this stuff on load up is going to be what's not fun, because we're going to have to create a join and kind of do some mapping, but we'll figure that out. We're going to insert this dot values, and then we're going to go ahead and say we need this, and then in the values, I think we're going to have to come into here again, and the values are transaction ID and goal ID. So we'll have our transaction ID, which will be transaction.id, and then we'll have our goal ID, which will obviously be our goal ID. Okay, and I don't think we need to return anything. Like, I think we can just call it good there. The only thing that I might want to do is just see what it returned. So we can say like const, I don't know if this returns everything or not, so that would be interesting. Const ret is equal to this, and then we'll say like dot returning. I'm assuming we can do this. Yeah, returning, and just return this, and then console.log the return. I could call it response as well, but it's not really a response. Okay, now we have track goal clicked. On press E, stop propagation, track goal. Yeah, so we can track set goal. So we are console.logging return. We come in here. We need to clean this up. If we click on this, yep, we have goal ID 1 like this. So now if we go in here and track this one towards weekly spending, the Sephora, is this going to return like a list of goals, or is this going to return just goal 2 in transaction ID, or goal 1 transaction ID 2? Okay, so it just returns a single transaction. Anyway, I think it's working. So that part was the easy part. So now we have 2 goals tracking, or 2 transactions mapped to a goal. So now what we'd have to do is we need to update the user transaction object in the global account or global context, which should be actually pretty easy. It's going to be more difficult whenever we fetch the user on load up, I think. But let's see here. So now what we got is we have update the global user transaction object. So we'll say const updated user transactions, and this is going to cause a reload, unfortunately. But user.transactions.map, and we'll do the same exact thing. We'll map t, and we'll say if t.id is equal to the transaction ID, transaction.id, then we'll go ahead and return ... t, and then we'll say tracked goals in how do we untrack a goal? So we might actually need to do a little bit of logic here to check to see if we want to add or remove a goal, right? So like, because we might actually want to remove this goal as well. So we're gonna need to check to see if the goal exists first inside the database. If it does, or if the tracked goal exists in the database. If it does, then we want to remove it, which I guess we don't need to check the database. We can just check the global context at this point. So what we'd want to do is check to see if the goal that we clicked on exists inside of whatever. So what we'd actually want to do here is we want to check to see if the transaction.tracked_goal.sum, and then we're going to say g, or goal, I guess. I'm a little bit worried about goal.id. No, it's an ID. Goal is equal to goal ID. Okay. I think that should work. We have to do this, I think. So basically, we want to check if the goal already exists in the tracked goals. If it does, we remove it. Otherwise, we it does remove it, otherwise we add it. Right? That's kind of like the idea here. So then maybe we want to say like let goal list equal to transaction.trackedGoals. So the current goal will get the goal list from the current this. And this one we might have to do a JSON.parse and a JSON.stringify, because we're not doing a mapping. We're gonna be like, this might be we might need a hard copy of this just to be safe, right? So then we'll just have an if else, and then if we're doing this, we'll go ahead and do this. We'll add this, and then we don't need to console log this anymore, and then we'll persist it, and then we'll say goal list is equal to, actually we'll say goal list, and I don't think it matters which order this goes in, so we'll just do goal list.push goal ID, like so, and then here we'll go ahead and say goal list, and this is tracked goals is goal list, like so. And then this will be just a number array, right? So if the transaction, or if the goal does not exist on the transaction, we'll go ahead and add it. We don't need this return anymore. And then here we want to await data store. I'm assuming this is remove, and I think it's called, I guess it's called delete. Delete, yep, data store dot delete. And then this will be the transaction goal junction. And this is gonna need to be dot where. We're gonna say EQ. And then this is gonna be I don't know how this is gonna work with a we might be able to just say where dot goal ID comma goal ID. That might work. Seems like it works. Once again, we don't need returning on this, so we can just do this. I think that's probably fine like that. So then we can also go ahead and say goal list dot, we might be able to remove. We could filter. We'll just filter it. Filter where G and G dot G is not equal to goal ID. So then we filter out that goal that we don't want. So that should remove it. So now I want to I would like to be able to see what the transaction looks like, but there's way too many transactions to map all of them. What I could do is I could just console.log the updated user transactions 0. Right, and then just click on the first one. So then after we do this, we'd want to go ahead and call update user state and say ... user, and then we'll have our transactions would be our updated user transactions. So in theory, this should update whatever it's called. I can't think now. This should update if we're tracking a goal towards a specific, or a transaction towards a specific goal. And right now, let's restart the app. Let's restart the app just to start from scratch and see if we can add and remove it from the junction table. So if we come in here, enter your name, Ethan, done, link your bank account, connect. We'll change that to say teller at some point. Right now we're just trying to get things working, down and dirty basically. Tracking expenses, weekly spending. Okay, we'll go ahead and say like 300, done, and submit and complete. That's unfortunate that this is a positive transaction, so it's not going to print it out, but it is what it is. So now if we click on this guy and we click on this weekly spending, so tracked goals is equal to 1. What we expect. Looks good. So now what we need to do is we're gonna have to do some like joins, and I don't think we necessarily have to do the joins specifically inside of our database, but, and this is not a very good goal to track, Then you can see it actually is working because now it says X. Click on this. It still says tracked goals 1. Okay, so this part did not work. And I don't know if our database failed here as well. Let's see what's going down here. So we still await datastore.delete. Oh wait, we never took it out. Oh wait, we did filter. Maybe I could have this backwards. I always get these backwards. Let's try this again. I could just be stupid, which is that's a common issue for me, being stupid and forgetting very common stuff. So let's redo all this. Give ourselves a chance to start fresh. Okay. Track expenses. Say weekly spending. Done. Say 300. If I keep our monthly spending for weekly stuff under 1200. Excuse you? There we go. Okay, that one's a little bit better. Okay, so now if we click on easy pay this, although we need to track it towards this one so we can actually print what we're seeing here. So we track this. Tracked goals is 1. We expect. Tracked goals is still 1. Okay. So this filter is not working. So either this logic isn't working, this sum logic, or this logic isn't working. This filter logic isn't working. I think this logic is working because it's not duplicating this. Like if we console.log remove the goal. Let's see. So if we click on this. Yeah, so remove the goal is getting called. Oh, you know what? I'm stupid. Goal list is equal to goal list.filter. And let's turn it back to this. See if that works. Now it's back. Gotta make sure we actually set it. Dingleberry. There we go. So now we can convert it on and off. So now what we'd want to do is on startup, and this is going to be hard to see whenever we're working here, but it'll be probably better. Well, I don't know. But basically now whenever we load up the user on startup, we need to map this. So like our global context, we have our global user transactions. Wherever we're setting this, we need to do this. So our transactions are equal to this. So basically what we're going to need to do is, and we reset the database every single time in test, so we might need to play around with this in dev. But basically we're going to have to, how do we want to do this? Like we could do some sort of join, probably. But I think there's still going to be some mapping involved. Like I think our best bet is saying like const. I appreciate that. Thank you for the subscription, Sports City. Appreciate you. So our best bet here is going to be probably say like our transactions goals junction equal to data store select dot from, and then schema. If I could type, oh my goodness. Schema dot this. I don't care about ordering. Then find mini. I guess I don't need to select. I can just say data store dot query dot and then transaction goals find mini. Then we have the transaction goals, and then we need to basically map through. We need to do like a double map. I don't know if we need to do like a, and honestly the tracking, this transaction goals junction is going to be smaller. This is going to be smaller than the global user transactions. So like what we're going to have to do How do we want to do this? We almost need to do like a double mapped type situation here. We almost still need to go. But I think this is going to return. Like, I'm wondering if we don't say. I'm going to say let. And then. We might need to do another map. Like what we might need to do is say like transactions gold junction. Say const here. Transactions gold junction. Like for each one, we'll say let goals equal to, and we'll have our goal transaction dot. How do we want to do this? We can either say for each, or we can say goals, let goals equal to an empty array to start. Then we can say then how do we want to do this? I guess this is probably not the best way to do this. And there probably is some way to do like a join, but it'd probably honestly best do a join and do like a flat map. And maybe I'll try to develop that later. But for now, let's just say like, I think I spelled transactions gold junction. Dot oh wait, we need to do the promise, that's why. Okay, let's do this. So we'll say persisted transactions goals junction, and then transactions goals junction. So goals is going to be equal to persisted transaction goals junction dot for each, and TG for transaction goal. and we have the t. So basically we can say like if t.id is equal to tg.id transaction ID, you can say goals.push tg.goal ID, right? And then now, so that'll get, and again, this is not going to be that fast, but that's fine. And then now the goals will be, let's see here, the goals will basically be our goals that we just did there. And now this is a number array. So now whenever the app loads up, oh, and we have an error, cool. When the app loads up, it should, I might need to do some logic here, console.log, transactions, goals junction. Because we have an error. If we scroll down, I'm assuming, let's see. Oh, we're getting, cool. And our database is scuffed again. Did it load in this time? I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I printed the wrong thing. Oh, this would be persisted. Why that's doing that. Okay, so it actually went through that time. Success true, undefined. Okay, so we're not going to see anything off the rip because it reset, obviously. But this will be more important later whenever we're testing with more like live data, which we probably should do some live data testing soon. But YOLO. Okay, weekly spending. Okay, goal amount will be 300. Done. And submit and complete. Okay. So now I'm going to didn't fetch anything because we just saved it, I think. Actually, it's probably right here. Empty. What I expect. Okay. So I think this will be fine. We'll do some testing in dev at some point. For now, I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick. I do have to use the restroom. I'm gonna grab a little bit more coffee. And then what we'll do is we can start taking a look at the weekly spending component here and see if we can't like start actually adding stuff in here. So like if we click on this guy and say, hey, we want to track this towards weekly spending, it didn't work. Love that. Let's see. Transaction card user goals map argument has been rejected. Why? Is it because of goals? Does that have something to do with this? Because this was already... Did we break it here? I'm pretty sure this was already like this. And reset database just got called for some reason. Cool. Oops. What is going on with this? I was going to run to the restroom and then it stopped working, so that's cool. This project is constantly just breaking things over and over again. Every time I hear this song, I think of Forza Horizon. Which reminds me, I'm ready for that game to come out. Why do GPUs have to be so expensive now? Literally, like, almost had the money for. Interesting. So this logic broke everything. Why did that logic break everything? We'll have to debug that in a second. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick, grab some coffee, and I'll be right back, y'all. Alrighty, y'all, let's figure out why this unassuming logic is breaking everything. So tracked goals is equal to a number array. Come up here to our state. It is a number array. So goals is equal to a number array. This is in the map. Should be doing it every time. I'm going through all the global user transactions, for all the persistent transactions. Console.log transaction full junctions persisted this. Oops. Make sure we do this. So if we click on this, why is this breaking? No such file. Internal bytecode. Repair sync was rejected. No pointer. Transactions card. Transaction update user transactions. But why? Why is this all of a sudden an issue is what I'm trying to figure out. It's acting like goals isn't set at all. User goals.map. Click on this. Transaction goal junctions is an empty array. That's what we expect. So if it's an empty array, it should just skip over this. And now if transaction ID is equal to if we swap this, but I don't know why this is breaking. Like specifically this persisted transaction goals logic. Let's figure this out. This logic is so unassuming, so it shouldn't be breaking. Right, so like, I don't know what this is, but our transaction goal junction is empty. So that means if we click on this, that one worked. Track goals 1. If we click X, now it's working. But what if we set this back to goals? And reset. Now happens. Does it really just wants to swap those? Kind of silly, but continue. Tracking expenses. Weekly spending. Done. Full amount 300. Done. Okay. Jose salsas. Sounds fire. Okay, our tracking is broken because we don't have any positive, but that's fine. All I care about is if we click on this, it works. Okay, now it's working again. I don't know what was going on with it, but it is what it is. We wired Jose salsa money. That makes sense. But now we're tracking that. So now what we want to go ahead and do is start working on actually being able to track it inside of our weekly spending goal. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to do this. Going to WQA. And I'm going to close out of this server. I'm going to cd ... I'm going to go ahead and commit this. And this is going to be transactions can be tracked towards specific goal. Okay. This is just for my record keeping for the videos. And we can go ahead and cd into freedom tracker bff npm run start. Okay. I'm trying to commit like files and stuff, so run test again. Okay, and then come back in here. So now basically my videos get put into blocks. So like the first block will be updating our schema, second block will be updating the transaction card things to be able to actually track goals, and then the last one's going to be tracking the goals. So go and reconnect our bank account. And then at the end of this video, we should be able to just use mocks, and we should be able to start like styling all of this hopefully at the end of this video. We'll see though. Tracking expenses, weekly spending, and goal amount is going to be 300. Once I get a new GPU, I'm going to start doing long play videos again. I just don't have a GPU that can really play and record more games than I'd like to, or the games that I'd like to. My wife actually spent $80 at In-N-Out yesterday. I'd be very sad. Okay. So now let's take a look at our goal component here. And I'll probably get rid of this like ugly goals title and all of this stuff. Looks like this is broken as well, but whatever, bro. The styling and stuff is annoying to me. We're going to update this component at some point. That'll probably just be whenever we go through, start testing some other stuff. Or doing some design stuff. I need to do some research on the best way to like set up a design system in React Native, like a clean way, because I don't like the way it's going right now, but it is what it is. So now if we come into our components, go into our goals and our goal tracking card, now what you go ahead and do is be able to calculate we need to calculate the whatever it's called. We need to calculate like how much is towards this. So we're gonna need to bring in, this is gonna be kind of gross, but we're gonna go ahead and bring in the user equal to use global context. I don't love doing it this way, but it is what it is. And we're going to basically do what we did on this spinning overview, where we take, this one's watching the transactions change. So maybe we pass in the transactions as well to the goal, and we can watch the transactions change. That might also be an okay idea. The better process would be only pass back the transactions that matter to us. But that would take a little extra work. So like we're using this, the easiest thing to do would just to be have the transactions here, but we could pass back just the transactions that we care about, right? So we go into our app index. Basically what we could do, here's our goals. Basically what we could do is like, whoops, const get transactions or goals maybe equal to, and then we'll have our transaction, or we'll have our goal ID, which is a number. And then we can go ahead and say like, we want to basically filter the transactions. So const goal transactions is equal to, I'm assuming we can say user.transactions.filter. Okay. User transactions.filter. And maybe we can say user. We can say user.transactions.filter. I don't like that, whatever. We'll filter T, and this is going to be kind of ugly, so we're going to say T dot tracked goals. That's not what I wanted. T dot tracked goals will return T dot tracked goals dot sum goal is equal to goal ID. And then we'll return, we can just return this, I guess. And then we can do that maybe. What's your problem? Oh, it's because we need to do this. So then we pass back the goal ID that we're trying to find, which we should have. And then let's see what happens here. See if this seems like it works. So now we can go ahead and say that the const transactions or const goal transactions equal to get transaction for goals, and then the goal ID will just be goal dot be item dot ID. I don't love that. And then our transactions, we need to add that. Let's go ahead and go back into our goal tracking card. We'll have transactions. Can't spell. Transactions. And this will be a global user transaction array. I believe that's what we should be getting back there. Whoops. And we'll go ahead and say transactions here. And I just want to console.log the list of transactions. So transactions to track for goal. And then we'll go ahead and add in the transactions just to see if this is propagating the data down the way that we expect. And then here are transactions. Do this. Make it a little bit easier to read. We'll have our transactions equal to goal transactions. Okay, so right now we're not printing anything. Transactions for goal. Also, let's go ahead and stop printing all of this stuff inside of our splash or spinning overview. Let's get rid of this console logs. I think that we basically established any issues that we have with this guy. So, whoops. I probably just doxed myself, so that's cool. Restart this. I was trying to clear the console, but it didn't quite work. Now we're probably gonna have really crappy data, but what can you do? Okay, so go ahead and put this stuff in. Bank of America has been good to us for the most part today. Okay, continue tracking expenses, weekly spending. Okay, and then goal amount 300. We got something. Okay. Why is this still printing? Thought that there must be another console log in here. There is. Whatever. It is what it is. Okay. So now, if we say, okay, we want to say this $111 easy pay gets tracked towards weekly spending. We click on this, transactions to track for goal. there. Working. Okay, say we get rid of this. And let's say we also went to Walmart, track weekly spending. So now transactions for goals, we have 2 of them. Although that says 65, I clicked on the wrong one. Let's untrack that one. And click on this one instead. Stay in block. So what we're going to do now is we need to do some logic based on like what type it is. But we're going to strip the negative from this. And we're just going to have like the absolute value and put it in this number. So now if we go back into our goal tracking card, we're going to go ahead and say const calculate. What do we want to call this? Do we want to call this progress? Or because both of these are amount text. Const calculate, and we'll say how do we want to call this? Const calculate total, I guess. Goal. Let's call it goal total. Okay. And we'll just say const running total equal to 0. Const, and this will be the goal total amount, and set total amount equal to use state of a number started out as 0. Okay, and then what we'll go ahead and do is we'll call calculate total amount. Running total is this, and then we'll just say transactions dot for each t. We'll go ahead and say actually gonna do one of these because we need to convert it to a positive number. So we're gonna say const amount is equal to, I don't know if you say new number and then pass in t, and then we want to say math.abs, so absolute value of this, right? And let's go ahead and get rid of this and get rid of this. Okay, so it does not like this. So I think number is going to come back as I'm going to say const n here. Const amount is equal to math.abs of n. Why does this matter to us? Amount number is not something. I don't know why that's mad at us. Oh, this should be t dot amount. Still don't know what the deal is here. How did we do the spending overview? So now that we converted it, oh, it's just called number, not new number. There we go. What if we can say amount, math.abs, t.amount. There we go. Now we have the amount, the absolute value of the amount, and then running total plus equal to amount. And then we'll say set total amount to the whatever it's called. We'll say what do we want to call this? Oh, amount or running total. Also, let's say and what's this guy's problem? That's a number. So why does that matter to us now? Not assign running total. Because we need to say let. Rookie mistake. Then let's also say const done calculating. That done calculating equal to use state of a boolean false. I don't want this to, I don't want it to say 0 there. So we probably want like a shimmer or something, but I don't know that we can do a shimmer. But basically we'll also, once this is done, we'll also just set done calculating to true. And if it happens to come out to 0, that's fine. But I don't want there to be a flash of 0 and then whatever else. Then use effect. We might not even need to do this. Like we probably just call, like honestly, what we could probably just do is this and be okay. Like we could probably straight up do this. Instead of here, we could probably just return. We probably set done calculating to true. And then return running total. I don't know if this will allow it. I don't know if this will let us do this. But I'm wondering if we can't do one of these where we calculate return calculate goal total. It will let us. No, it will not let us. Okay, that's fine. What we'll actually do is we'll just say or undefined, start out as undefined. And then we'll just do a use effect. And we'll watch for the transactions dot length to change. Although we might be able to just watch transactions to change. And we'll call calculate total amount on startup. And then what we can do, should stop complaining now, and our database is probably scuffed. And then what we'll do is we'll do some sort of shimmering effect here. So we'll do a total amount. Now the problem is it could be 0. So I'll have to do not equal to undefined. If it's not equal to undefined, we'll do this. Otherwise, we'll do like a shimmer effect. View, and I'm just gonna say like for now text. Imagine we're shimmering. And we can do the shimmer effect really quick. Probably. I don't know why that's mad at us. But it is what it is. If I were to do some Googling here. Whoops. React native shimmer effect. I just want the native CSS, brother. I don't want a library, dude. CSS shimmer effect. A lot of work. For now, we're just gonna do a box. Have a view, like so. And we're gonna say style equal to and styles dot goal tracking card shimmer. What we're gonna do. And it's gonna come here. Goal tracking, oops, tracking card shimmer, and it's gonna have like a width. I don't know how big that guy is. Let's just do like 100. It's probably way too big. Height of 20. A background color of gray. And I'll work on figuring out the shimmer thing later. It's not important to us right now. We'll just add a placeholder there so that it shimmers. And really, we should probably shimmer the entire area until we're ready. And the thing is, this should only be undefined the very first time we load this. It shouldn't flicker every single time. Like really, we should probably have a shimmer this entire thing. I just don't know how big this guy is. We don't have a height. Our height should fit content. Like, so whenever we come back and fix this, and honestly, what we could just do instead of this, instead of having this shimmer, we can just not show. While this is undefined, what we can do is just wrap this for the time being. And we're going to go ahead and say total amount not equal to undefined. And then if it is undefined, actually we'll do this. If total amount equal to undefined, return null. That'd be the easiest way to decide this, and then pop it up after it's done. And then we're gonna do some shimmer effect. I don't know what the shimmer effect's gonna look like. We'll figure it out. But once I kind of know how big this is, because like the thing is, I have like a Figma style. We can set the card to whatever height that we want when we have like a shimmer card, and we can kind of go from there. But say Ethan, test this really quick. We need to pop off stream in a little bit and get ready for work. Username, password, continue, tracking expenses, weekly. Can't see what it says. Yep, typoed spending. Done. 300. Done. Okay. Right now, so that means that it calculated. Console.log amount. We'll say goal. And we'll go ahead and say goal.name, comma, amount, tracked. And maybe that's what we should call it, amount tracked instead of total amount. Let's call this amount tracked. And set amount tracked. We can fix this. We'll go ahead and say set amount tracked to the running total. And we'll check to see amount tracked is equal to undefined. Okay, and we'll go ahead and say amount tracked. Right now we should have $0. We have an error, terrific, whatever. So weekly spending, amount tracked is 0. Oh, I just typoed something. That's why I was mad at us. Cool. Whatever. Okay, so now if we come in here, let's say we click on this $46. We want to track this towards our spending. Cool. Broke it. Let's restart the app. I don't know if this is... I don't know if we broke something or what's going on with this. Try again. We made some changes there, so maybe we broke something or the database wasn't happy with us. Or it's just not working for some reason. Weekly spending. 300. Submit. Okay, so if we click on this transaction, now I don't see let's see. There. It worked. Weekly spending tracked 96.75. Close this. Click on this one. Track that one. 216. And then what we can do is now instead of $XXX, we'll say $ dot amount tracked. Now it says 216.72. And then what should happen here is the only other thing that we might want to keep track of is this needs to reset weekly, right? So we need to figure out, the other thing that we need to figure out is we need to kind of check to see if this transaction falls within this week, within like Sunday to Saturday, right? So basically what we need to do is maybe make like, we maybe need to have like a list of dates and then check to see if the dates fall within that range. Or we need to check to see like, so basically we need to calculate when Sunday was, if it's like a new week or if it's Sunday. And then we need to see, we need to calculate Sunday, we need to calculate Saturday. And then we need to see if the date range falls between those, and then we want to add that to the total. Except we need to check to see like if it's a weekly whatever. If it's monthly, then we want it to track between whatever. Now the question is, do we do that here or we do that logic elsewhere? I think that we'd want to do that logic inside the index. We just get the transactions for goals. So like here we're filtering just by this. We'd also want to figure out Although I think we probably would want to do it inside the goal tracking itself. Because this is just kind of like getting all of the goals for all the transactions. So I'm thinking maybe we throw it in here. And then, so basically, I'm going to do some research here. JavaScript get last Sunday, get previous Sunday. So we can say get previous Sunday date is a new date. Day of week, get day, Sunday 0, blah blah blah. Let days to subtract equal to day of week. The day is Sunday, we want so what we can do, we can check today's date. So come in here. Gonna get messy. Const today's day of week equal to, and then we can go ahead and say date.get is equal to, let's say today is equal to new date. So we'll get today's date. And then we'll go ahead and say const today's day of week equal to today dot get day. Why does this matter to us? Why does new date not work? What is going on here? Why are we playing dumb? Const today is equal to new date. Const today's day of week is equal to today dot get today. Why is this not working? I don't know what's going on with my IDE right now. Console.log days day of week. Let's just see if this is doing anything. Days day of. I think I need to restart Vim. 5. That makes sense. That'd be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Except it starts at 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes sense. Okay. So then what we'd want to do is say like we need like a starting date and ending date. But starting date equal to a new date. Let ending date to a new date. Then we have today. So now we have today's day of week. So basically, we're going to go ahead and say if today's day of week. And the thing is, though, who's going to be these gonna need to be like put into utility, because this is gonna have to be based on the recurrence type, right? So like we need to like be like const filter weekly goal transactions. So we need to const filter monthly goal transactions, which is slightly different. And a const filter yearly goal transactions. Right? So this is kind of like going into the weekly. Instead of saying like transactions.forEach, we'll filter them first. Like if we're filtering the weekly goal transactions, if today's day of week is equal to 0, if today is Sunday, we just need to, and maybe we should like, I don't want to put an end date on the recurring. But like, I almost want to update the recurring goals again. But I also don't want to. We'll see if this wants to work. Today is Sunday. We just need to update the end date or ending date to Saturday. So it'll go Sunday to Saturday. Otherwise, if today is not Sunday, we need to calculate Sunday, start and set starting and ending date. Okay. So if today's day of week is 0, then starting date is just today. But ending date will be equal to, and then we need to figure out how many days to add. So this would just be 6 basically, I believe. So then we'll go ahead and say ending date dot, and then set date is what it looks like. And then this would be ending date dot get date plus 6. Otherwise we have to figure out when Sunday is. So then what we'll have to do is like let days to subtract equal to, we can go ahead and say today's day of week. Okay. And then what we do is say starting date dot set date. Then we're gonna have to say like ending or starting date dot get date minus days to subtract, and then let days to add would equal to probably like 7 minus days to subtract. And this might be off a day. I could type. And I typoed here, so I'll fix this. Dang it. Paste that. Oh my goodness. I cannot type right now. I'm sorry, y'all. Go. Subtract. I cannot type. Yeah, I just want to try this really quick to see if it seems like it's okay. And then ending date dot set date, and then this would be ending date dot get date plus days to add. Console.log, starting weekly goal starting date. Oops. So, comma, starting date dot to date string maybe. Console.log weekly goal ending date. Might not be the most accurate way to do this, but we'll see. Ending date dot to date string. Okay, and then what we do is let's just call it here really quick. Let's call filter weekly goal transactions. I don't know why this is mad at us. And I spelled days to subtract wrong. Copy this. Paste that. Okay, let's give this a reset. Just to see if we get... I just want to see if we get a date calculated, and then I'm at the end stream because we're running out of time for today. So I just want to test this real quick and then probably work on this offline just to get some more work done. Because if we only stream it like once or twice a week, we're not getting that much work done on it. And we need to get more work done, then come on, there we go. Weekly spending, especially if I want to get some of these videos out. We need to get some more work done. But we're making good progress here. Okay, so now starting date is Feb 8. I think that seems correct. That is this Sunday, but we need it to end on Feb 14. So this almost needs to be 6 minus days to subtract. Whoops. So now Saturday, February 14th. Terrific. So then what we can do is go through and check to see if the dates are between those ranges, and if they are, we'll put them on our weekly spending, otherwise we won't. So that's going to be it for this stream. I want to thank everyone for stopping by. Appreciate you. Appreciate the subscription earlier. This is Ethan, or Unencoder, and I'll see you all in the next live stream on Monday.